All right. The path of entrepreneurship often seems like a thrilling roller coaster. But what if we could approach it with reality and clarity of the purpose, turning every challenge into opportunity to grow? This afternoon, in the 6th edition of Orange City Literature Festival, we are here to explore just that, the art of building business that not only survives but thrives in today's competitive world. I am Akash Kumar, and it's a pleasure to welcome you all to this inspiring afternoon. Brought to you by the SGR Knowledge Foundation and powered by Rajsoni Education. Think about the story of Baba Ramdev, who turned yoga into a multi-billionaire dollar wellness brand with Patanjali. A business that started small but has now revolutionized India's FMCG landscape. Or consider Ola Cabs, which began as a small idea in Mumbai and is now an international player in the ride-sharing industry. These examples remind us that entrepreneurship is about passion, vision, and a drive to make an impact. These stories also show that with the right mindset and any idea, big or small, can scale up, achieve remarkable success. And today, we are fortunate to have a true embodiment of this spirit with us. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Rajesh Jain. Please give a big hand. He is the founder of Netcore Cloud, a bootstrap Proficorn with an impressive 100 million ARR. Mr. Rajesh was a pioneer in Asia's dotcom revolution, creating India's first internet portal in the late 1990s, and played a major role in shaping the digital landscape we know today. His journey includes acquisition of his portals by Satyam Infoway in 1999 for $115 million, one of the largest internet deals in Asia at that time. Mr. Jain is also the proud author of Starter to Proficorn, a book that has inspired over 5,000 entrepreneurs in India. Recently, he was honored with the Distinguished Alumnus Award by IIT Bombay for his incredible contribution to entrepreneurship. Moderating this session is Mr. Mithilesh Vazalwar, a true trailblazer in India's coffee industry. Please give a clap. He began his journey with coffee in 2002 and went on to become the Indian Aeropress Champion in 2017 and the National Barista Champion in 2022. As the founder of Corridor 7 Coffee Roasters, Mr. Mithilesh has helped to bring specialty to coffee culture to Nagpur and beyond Nagpur too. He is not only a CQI Arabica Q grader but also a 3-time international judge, having participated in events like the World of Coffee Dubai 2024. Mithilesh's journey is a great example of how following your passion can lead to entrepreneurial success. Now, without further delay, we will dive into a deep conversation of almost 30 minutes on entrepreneurship, business, and the approach to entrepreneurship. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Akash, for the lovely introduction.
Thank you.
I think if I want to describe Mr. Rajesh over here, he's the guy who goes to Shark Tank and buys the Shark Tank, you know. He doesn't take the investment from there. So, thank you so much for coming to the city.
Thank you, Mithilesh.
And it's a very good weather that you have come to the city in. As I was mentioning, the sweaters are out. Usually it's hot or very hot in Nagpur, but now it's very cold. So, welcome to the city. I want to start off with the first question, like, why do you do what you do? What is that why for you when you started out? And is that why even there right now with your company? So if you could just let us know about that.
So there are two parts to that answer. As an entrepreneur, why did I become an entrepreneur? And then what do I do as an entrepreneur? If I just split it like this. So when I was growing up, I saw my father as an entrepreneur. And he tried many things in his life. Most of them didn't really work out. I saw him go through the highs and lows, and a lot of lows as an entrepreneur, but some very good highs also. And I realized that is the sort of life I wanted. So after doing IIT and then studying in the US, working for a couple of years, I came back to India. Very clear that I wanted to do something on my own rather than work for someone else. And as an entrepreneur, what you really have to do is to fall in love with a problem you want to solve. Many times, we get very caught up with technology and other sort of things. But the heart of entrepreneurship is really finding a problem to solve. And I've done sort of 2 successful ventures and failed probably 30, 40 times in my life. And when I look back, every time I got too excited with some cool technology, okay, things never worked out. I was sort of too far removed from the problem. So there's a very good title of a book, Fall in Love with the Problem, Not the Solution.
Yeah, that's
As an
nice.
entrepreneur, I think if you keep doing that, that's sort of, and there are lots of problems to solve in the world.
And if you would describe about what you're doing with Netcore, if you could let us know what is that you're building, and if you could introduce everybody. I mean, a lot of people don't need the introduction, but if you could just let us know off the record what you do with Netcore.
Sure. In fact, you would be getting emails, SMSs from, say, companies like Flipkart, Myntra, ICICI Bank, Paytm, etc. So we have a technology platform. It's called Software as a Service. So it's basically a cloud-based platform to help large businesses engage with their customers. So in marketing, there are 2 parts to a business. Basically, you got to acquire a customer, and that's typically done via ads, which we all see on Google, Meta, Insta, etc., all of these places. And then once a customer is acquired means you've bought something, you've given them your email address or mobile number, then they need to build a relationship with you to ensure they don't have to pay again to Google and Meta to get you back. So that customer relationship, and that's where you get the messages in your inbox, various inboxes.
Even those pop-ups, khana khaya kya, those samosa for free, something like, are those pop-ups something which your contribution is towards?
Yeah, we don't create the content, we just enable the we just drive the technology part for that.
I'm sure everybody knows what content we are talking about.
So that's the part that we do. So it's basically called the acquisition side and the retention side. The retention side is where once you're there, in any business, you have to maximize revenue from your existing customers rather than keeping on trying to acquire newer ones. Right. So that's what sort of Netcore.
I think that's also very important, that a lot of people who are starting out, their main focus is towards just acquisition.
Yes.
There is no retention or there is no servicing towards a acquired audience. I think even in hospitality that matters a lot. What about the e-commerce? How important do you think is that?
Very, very critical. See, today, how do you get people, say you are running a website, you are running a beauty and wellness platform. First, you're starting up, then how do you get your first customers? So typically, you would maybe do friends and family. Then you'll start doing some advertising, Insta, etc. on these platforms to get people in. Now, that is the real first test. Can you ensure that you get the email address or the mobile number of the person, so you do not have to go through Insta and other platforms again and again to get the same person back? That is the retention side of it. And unfortunately, most marketers today don't focus as much on that. So what is happening today is a lot of businesses, B2C, D2C businesses, don't make as much money because they're wasting. And I call this ad waste. They are wasting a lot of their marketing budgets, just targeting the same customers again and again and again. Yep. And then you can never be profitable. Because think about it. You have the identity of a customer, but you have not built a hotline. You have not built a relationship. Right. So you are now going through third-party platforms to get them back onto your website or your app. That will never work because those are auction-driven platforms. Yeah. You are competing against every competitor. Those prices are going up 20, 30% a year.
Can you describe what auction-driven platforms are?
So basically on Google and Meta, when you see ads, what's happening is that companies are bidding to show you that ad. Typically, whoever has the highest bid actually gets to show you the ad. So it's a bidding platform. These are all real-time bidding platforms. Now, that's a big challenge, because if you keep paying for reaching your existing customers again and again, very, very hard to make profits out of it. And the purpose of a business is basically not fundraising, but profitability.
That's what we were discussing a while back, that I think that's a different story we'll jump on to.
Yes.
Bootstrapping and funding conversation we'll get on to. I wanted to ask one thing, like, is marketing for everybody? And this comes as a question, I think I'm representing a lot of people over here who do have got a particular skill set, they're passionate about it, they are very artsy about it. But at times there's a mental block that comes in, that I don't know how to market it. Second, should I market it? Am I being a sellout? Because these are the questions that even I do be asked. So I think no better person than you to answer. Is marketing for everybody, and how?
Actually, if you think about it, we are all marketing ourselves all the time. So when you're putting out on, say, WhatsApp or Insta, or in professional cases, LinkedIn.
That's true.
Okay, you are basically putting forward a set of views, your personality, your ideas out to the world. And today, I think if you have to grow professionally or even a business, you have to be good at that. Now, in a business, the one interesting angle which comes in here is that for a business, how does a business succeed? You take a Kirana store. For the Kirana store, what's very important is repeat customers. So the Kirana store actually pretty much knows all your interests, all your what you want to buy, which brand of toothpaste you like, and so on. As the businesses grow larger and larger, that person one-to-one touch sort of goes away. That's where technology comes in. The goal of technology should be to make every customer feel special. And for that, there are two things which are very important. The first is, how do I build the hotline, that relationship? Not we like Flipkart or Myntra, we typically will open their apps. But a lot of other apps or other websites, we go when we want. They are not top of mind for us. So those brands need to bring us back. Therefore, what they do, they will send us, whether it's SMSs, emails, WhatsApp messages, push notifications. Yeah. So there's a push which they are doing to bring you back onto their website. Now, if you don't come back, what is their option? Their option is to go and advertise on Google and Meta and all the other platforms we've spoken about. And that is where the real role of marketing comes in. That how can I build deep relationships with my customers so I can I know their data, I know their likes, I know their dislikes. So I can now personalize what I send to them. Rajesh is different from, say, Bhavna or Divya. How do I make the offers which are there, the products that I send, right for both of them? Many times we get frustrated because even after buying, you realize they don't even know the gender. Yeah. You know, that, and they are sending you irrelevant information. So how I break it up is, in fact, the one key thing in marketing to remember, at least business to consumer marketing, is the mindset should be only once. How can I pay for acquiring a customer only once and then build that direct relationship so I never have to pay a third-party platform in an auction for my same customers again and again?
That's a wonderful insight. I mean, I was listening very closely about what you're talking, and it makes sense at a lot of levels. Like as I was mentioning earlier, my mom runs a distribution of Tupperware, and she basically, whenever she gives a brief to her team, they're like, make the best of the reel or the best of the video. Yes. And I keep telling them, like, what is the point? If you make the best of the reel, your audience is like just 100, 200. So you need to reach out to larger audience. And you need the data of what they are looking at, or rather what they want to be looked at, right? Which brings me to a very interesting question, like, what does your day look like?
So I'll describe two different days. When I was doing my first company, India World, that was 95 to 1999. So there, I was building I built India's first internet portals. So we were a team of 20. So we had started up with my wife and me, Bhavna and me, and we have worked together for the last 30 years. She's very different. She loves people and numbers. I like the vision thing. There, I was very hands-on as an entrepreneur. So, essentially as an entrepreneur, and Mithilesh, you will realize this, that basically you make a list in the morning of things to do.
Yeah.
And here are 15 things, 10, 15 things I need to get done today. You come into office, and then there is firefighting. There are challenges which are happening. Some customer, something is not working, some other thing is there. And then it's 5 o'clock in the evening, and you realize you only done maybe 3 or 5 out of those 15 things. And as an entrepreneur, you have to like this feeling day after day. Because that's going to be your life. Okay? Whatever people you have, at the end of the day, that's the sort of role of an entrepreneur. Because the buck stops with you. There is no one ahead, at upper level you can go to. So that was the first sort of those 5 years that I was very hands-on as an entrepreneur. And you're doing multiple things. But there I also learned to delegate. I learned to trust other people in my team to make the decisions. Everything didn't have to come to me. Because without delegation, you cannot grow. Then you're running like a one person with maybe 10 people, 15 people, you're limited by what you can do. In Netcore, my day is very different. 2007, I hired our first professional CEO. I realized that I was not very good at the day-to-day management. I didn't like that. And we were not growing also. So a friend of mine actually gave me very good advice. He said, Rajesh, look, you are the problem. You come up with a lot of good ideas, but you are not able to sell them in the marketplace. You keep failing year after year. Just because you were successful once does not mean you have like the Midas touch that you'll be successful again every time, again and again. He said, you need someone who can take your ideas and sell them, make them work in the marketplace. I didn't like it the first time around because someone is telling me what to do, and I always thought, I've been successful once and so on. But I realized when I thought about it, my friend was right. So I got a CEO at that time. And Netcore, therefore, has been professionally run for the last 17 years, 3 CEOs through these years. And now my days, I tend to look at ideas, meeting customers. Okay, there are a few R&D projects. What does the world look like 2-3 years hence? For example, now AI, we all know, is a very big disruption. It was like the internet when I started off almost 30 years ago. It's going to fundamentally change our lives of businesses, lives of their customers. So what does the future look like? Because as an entrepreneur, you are always building for 1 or 2 years ahead. You have to look ahead, for what people are wanting. That's the sort of, and find those next level of problems to be able to solve. So today my life is, I don't have anyone directly sort of reporting to me other than the CEO. It gives me a lot of time to go and talk to customers. Because when you speak to customers, they are the best source of ideas. They may not be able to describe it in your language, but that is where the problems which they have, they will tell you. And as an entrepreneur, your job is to really solve those problems. Understand what they are saying, come up with solutions for them, and you do it right, you have a growth trajectory. Otherwise, you fail.
I think 2 very important key takeaways over here are, one is the delegation.
Yes.
A lot of people shy away from delegating quite a bit. And let me know if you agree with this, but by delegation, you also have to add a discounting factor towards the execution a little bit. You could find out a 1% or a 2% of execution discounting over there. Do you agree to that? I think.
Yeah, and that's what a leader's job is.
Yeah.
That how can you bring in that same passion in other people, get them to see the world how you are seeing it. Otherwise, you will never be able to scale your business. So even a kirana store is bootstrapped and profitable. Otherwise, they don't survive. But they don't have scale. The key thing in a business is, whatever be the source of funding, profitability is of course very important, and then the ability to scale, the ability to think big. Yeah? That is, I think, very, very important.
So somebody who, in the room, I'm sure somebody must be thinking. Also, the second point that I wanted to mention was, including me a few years back, we thought that CEO, becoming the CEO is absolutely everything, you know. Can we pop that bubble a little bit and mention that, you know, like, you as a founder, being a CEO sometimes is a limitation?
Yeah, see, I think one thing you've got to all ask yourself is, what are you good at and what are you not good at? Sometimes you may find it very hard to ask this question to yourself if you're running a business, because you think you are good at everything. But ask people who work for you. Where are the things which you like to do and which you do not like to do? So I realized at some point of time that where I am very good at is coming up with ideas, that imagining things, spending time with customers. But you then also need someone who can run the daily operations, make sure everything is working on schedule, on track. And sometimes it's not, when you're small, you can of course look at doing both, but as you scale the business, you have to make a choice between the two. True. And I would say that today, it's not an easy decision, because when I made my choice to hire the first CEO, I also said that in the company there can only be one leader. Yeah. You cannot have sort of two drivers on a steering wheel. So I had to accept that the CEO is the final decision maker. So even today, if I have ideas, I will go to my CEO, Kalpit, and say, look, these are my ideas. If people come to me expecting a decision, I say, I'm not going to decide. True. You have to go to Kalpit. Because the moment you undermine your CEO once, the company will not be the same after that. True. So some of these things, I think you learn as you go along. You know what, Mithilesh, you said, delegation and this point, I think become very important for crossing that sort of chasm, as it were. Making that leap from being a small 5, 10, 15% company to being a 100 or 1,000-person company.
You know, like, I always repeat this to my team, is picture ka hero bhi main hi, villain bhi main hi. So there's only one driver, correct, one direction, rather than having two people, because I've seen that happening. A lot of confusion happens. And I think also we need to like draw a line over there, that it's nothing to do with about ego, or it has nothing to do with I am the better one than yours. It's about the company. So that's a very fair point. Now, so in an entrepreneur journey, right? By the way, everybody who's joined in a little bit later after the introductions, I introduced him like he's the guy who buys the Shark Tank. So he's that guy. So just be ready with all your questions, because we're going to open this up for everybody and we want some interactive questions. Feel free to absolutely ask the questions, all right? So we'll do that Q&A in a bit.
Absolutely.
So in an entrepreneur journey, there's always this one really charming incident or a project that you take up, all right? If you could share any of the projects that you have taken up in the current past or few years back, that'll be great with us.
So I'll tell you a story from 25 years ago. Yeah, it seems a long time ago, but the idea is the story. And so when I started my the first successful venture, India World, we were of course the first. Then we had competition. Rediff was there, and then Rediff news was very important. We were focused on NRIs. You know, because the internet was not really very small in India, but there were lots of Indians outside India who wanted news, information, recipes, Indian poetry, short stories, everything. Amar Chitra Katha comics, Lakshman cartoons, all of that at that time. And Rediff had hired a lot of people for news, you know, journalists, editors, etc. And we were very small, like I said. And I realized that I cannot afford to hire such people because we had no funding, profits were too small. And so what I did there is I said, can I have tech solve this problem? So I got one of my software engineers and said, you know, all these Indian newspaper sites are all there now. Hindu, Times, Indian Express, all are set up internet sites at that time. Why don't you write a program which goes to their sites every 30 minutes, picks up the top 5 headlines on from all these pages, and puts it on a single page. So we called it samachar.com. It took him 1 week to write this, and it ran every 30 minutes automatically. And that page became the home page, the starting point for Indians globally. This was 97, 98. And it cost me basically 1 week of software, and I didn't have to worry about hiring all these people. So many times taking a different approach. See, it's, I could not have outbid Rediff, which had raised some capital, etc., which was ran a big agency at that time. But how can you win the game by taking sometimes a very different approach that is there? So I'll give that sort of one part of what happened a long time ago. Recently, what I've been thinking about is that most businesses worldwide spend almost 80-90% of their marketing budgets on Google, Meta, etc., on customer acquisition. And a lot of that customer acquisition is actually, like we spoke earlier, customer reacquisition, reacquisition. We all get targeted to the same ads. So I said, what is it that we can do to solve this problem? Because if we can solve this problem, profitability of digital brands goes up dramatically. True. Because they don't have to waste a lot of this marketing budget. So that's the idea that I'm working on, because that is the only way digital internet business, and many of you all are running or will run those kinds of businesses, that's the only pathway to being profitable and then scaling from there.
I think it's very important for the city to hear that, because right now I see a lot of people getting into startups, a lot of people getting into businesses, and a lot of people are doing something phenomenal. So these insights are really, really important for somebody who's in fact starting out, or even who's been in the business for a very long time. So let me just open this for the audiences of now. Anybody who's got any questions for, yeah, please go ahead.
How come youngsters are so fond of 7 corridors? My son, he drove me. He said, I'm taking to a very special place, and over there, that greyish black coffee or the...
Blacksmith.
So,
That's a question more for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he is as much a successful entrepreneur as I am, so please feel free to direct questions to Mithilesh. And
I wish I would have said, yes, I am as successful, but my bank does not accept or agree that, I don't know if it's coming in a good, I hope it's coming in a good way, right? The question. Okay. So we've been kind of blessed with the support of the city quite a bit. I'm not saying it as a PR activity, to be very honest, but look, we started from a very orthodox place in the city, which is called Sita Birdi, which is like a Crawford Market of Bombay or a Chandni Chowk of Delhi. So we started from there, and we started very organic and very basic, because we love brewing coffee. We love being around coffee. At the same time, I am not a person who does not believe in कि यार loss होने दो कोई बात नहीं, profit नहीं हो रहा कोई बात नहीं. I come from a very humble background, and that matters to me quite a bit, So the philosophy has been quite simple. If we make $10, you keep 4 बाजू में, 3 business में, 3 अब rainy day के लिए रखो. एक back of the hand calculation. अभी why are we so famous and why are we so liked? I think probably the representations of India, we've represented India 6 times now at the global coffee stage. I think that's kind of resonated very well with the younger audience, because I was having this conversation with my wife that the Gen Alpha and Gen Z, I think your son or daughter? Son. How old is he?
he is now in BSc.
Okay. So Gen Z, I think so. That's the most amazing of the entire audience, because they ask the right questions and they look beyond the brand, is what I have seen. So I think that is what, if I have answered the question, that's what they are looking at. That's why we've been loved so much, thankfully.
Always parcel also. Copies at home.
Yeah.
Special. Types of.
Okay.
See, I think it's a great C7, as Mithilesh was saying, as people call it here. I think there are 2 things which he's saying, which I think are very important. I think the focus on the product.
Yeah.
Okay, the core product.
Yeah.
See, no amount of marketing is going to help if the product is not loved. That's number 1. And second is, I'm sure what's working very well for Mithilesh is word of mouth.
Yeah.
So I think you were telling me, you've not spent pretty much any money on real paid marketing, as it were. The word of mouth, the virality which comes from there is so powerful. That's more than what any money can buy.
Yeah. And just to add on, like, we know we've made a lot of mistakes. We will keep making mistakes, but the kind of love that people have given because of the word of mouth, that's really worked out. But anyway, not about me. Let's ask him some questions, please. If it is for me, I'll be happy to answer.
Please feel free.
But
You've got two people on stage. You can ask either of us.
yes, hi.
Decision making related leadership has a running the team. I'm one of the leader and working on this. I'm training the nearly to sprint with people in my company. And decision, how to take a decision when some staff is not understanding the thing, not approaching the as organization.
When a topic is being discussed, okay, if you feel you have a different opinion from what others are saying, say it in the group. Put forth your points, argue, etc. But once the group makes a decision, okay, you have to commit to that. It is not disagree and sulk, disagree and badmouth. Arey, ye log ne decide kar liya. You are part of a team. Okay, so this is a very important element to be able to tell people. You must voice your opinion. Do not stay silent. But once the group decides, on the execution, we are all together as one. Otherwise, teams fall apart and it doesn't work.
If I may add one more point to this. So what I had started with my team back in 2019, I had faced the same thing. Everybody, I'm sure everybody faces that. What I did was I told them for 1 week, you will be the CEO, I'll be working with you. Mm-hmm. 8th day, they were like, you're right, So they have to be shown, like, the other side of things. Not always everybody is on the same page. Neither do you want a team who's going to be on the same page always. You just don't want that. You don't want yes men, or yes women in that matter, but you want your team to be, disagreeing, yet focusing on the goal. Just today, there was a cricket match. India and Australia was playing. So there was a very beautiful piece of commentary by, I think, Sanjay Manjrekar, rare to happen. But he said something that, even if the captain is wanting to change the bowler and the bowler is not happy, still they are getting the wickets. So the team is happy, right? What it meant was, even if everybody is disagreeing, stick and commit, as Sir said. That's very, very important. Yes, please.
I want to build a business and become a businessman and give jobs to various people. So, but I am confused. Means how to create a company. Means should we stick on only one company? Means if we are running a company and it is in a loss, so should we switch to another company? In another field. How to choose the
Sure.
field?
So I will say two parts to what you're saying. First is, when you're building your company, company, make sure that you have spent enough time understanding the problem. Don't just do copycat of what other people are doing. Spend time with customers, understand what their problem is. Then you have to make a decision whether that the solution that you are coming up with, can that scale? You're not just doing it for, say, 4 or 5 people or businesses. It can scale. I think that is very important. Many times I see the opposite happening. People come up with a solution and then go trying to find customers.
Yeah.
Invariably, that approach does not work. Okay, so talking to customers becomes very important. Second point which you said, and I think it's a very important element, is that what happens if your idea does not work? Okay, what happens if you are failing? Now, I have tried many things in my life. I failed about 30 plus times, almost once every year as an entrepreneur. It is very hard every time. Because even if others are telling me that, Rajesh, this idea nahi chalegi, this is not going to work. But I always have belief, one more customer will come and it will work. I need that one big break in life. or like a gambler in a casino. That way sometimes it happens. So you have to listen to others. Yep. And if things are not working, better to close one door, because only then will other doors open up. So I'll give you a small story. Again, after I'd come back from the US, I'd built an image processing solution. Very good. It would take pictures from microscopes and cameras, etc. And then do very good analysis on it. It will tell you how many objects are there, etc. But what I realized as I was trying to sell it was that it was a tendering process. It would take 1 year, 2 years in the government, because the government organizations were the primary buyers. So demos would be very good. But then I realized that, if 2 years are there, I cannot survive without customers. I had to shut that. And it took me a long time. Even others were saying, Rajesh, ye nahi chalne wala hai. But it was my baby. If I had not shut that business down, I would not have been able to start India World, the internet portals business, which succeeded even beyond my wildest imagination. So sometimes close a door, only then will other doors open up. It's not easy, failing because you always feel mental trauma, etc. But that is the nature of an entrepreneur. See, anyone who starts up a business, the reality is 99 or 99.99% businesses fail. We don't hear about them. But yet, every entrepreneur who starts a business feels they have a 70% chance of success. But that is the optimism which basically gets them going. And that's how change happens in the world. Everything you see around us is because some entrepreneur said there is a better way of doing things. I mean, even the story goes, Edison, right? He tried 100 or 500 ways of creating the electric bulb. And he said, what I've discovered are 499 ways of not to do it. Yes?
Yes, please.
So suppose if there's a startup selling XYZ product and they have they're selling the product slightly pricier than the.
See, in everything in life, it's a voluntary exchange. So what you're saying is, you are selling me something. Okay? Now I'm a customer who's got money. The only way I will buy from you, you cannot force me to buy. The only reason I will buy from you is I value your product more than I value the money that I have. Okay? You see products from, you see tea or coffee from 10 rupees to probably 300 rupees or 400 rupees. And every one of them sells. Every one of them has a market.
True.
Okay? So it's what value you are giving. What is there in the perception? I mean, the clothes that we wear are all types. So it is basically a decision being made by a person on the other side. And I want Mithilesh to actually answer that because he's in the direct market. Okay, I'd love to hear his answer. You have to communicate what value you are providing. Cost or price is not the only reason why people make decisions. I'd love to hear.
Thank you. So I think that was a wonderful line that he said, that it's not about how much you want to sell it at, or rather how much money I have, because I can buy that product n number of times, but do I value that product? Do I value that service? So how I have looked at this is, I haven't looked at it as a category, but I have looked at it as a brand. I want to still build a brand which basically people are happy associating with. Uske baad, whatever product we come up with, for example, it could be a pencil tomorrow, it could be a pen tomorrow. So I want that value addition in their life with the brand that we are building rather than just a product. That's very important. And one thing is there, that price wars are the worst thing to get into.
Yeah.
All right. I run Corridor 7, and at the same time we also run another brand called Brim. Now, funny story, all right? Both are same brands, absolutely same brands. But Brim serves coffee 15 rupees at a lower cost. But still we are getting a lot of same response. Same coffee, everything is same, all right? People are interacting with that. So what key takeaway over here is that I think focus on the service, focus on the brand rather than on the price, and you will be good to go. Just a little bit rewind for the question that the gentleman asked over there. Two things that sir basically meant was fail fast, and there is no shame in shutting, right? That's a stigma in this industry, in this entrepreneurship journey, that if you shut your business, oh my God, you are you're failed. But that should be not there. Yes. We'll
example that you took, right? You have Founder of Netcore Cloud, and you also have your other brand. My question is more on the lines of when you are creating this differentiation in the market, do you risk being looked at as an unstable, brand, or like a brand which is not really conscious or doesn't know where it fits or it wants to fit? Or is it like you're creating a hedonistic brand only catering to this particular subsection, right? So that is my first part of the question. How do you handle that risk of being, pushed into oblivion, like, okay, this person doesn't know what they're doing. Secondly, let's say if you do succeed in creating a hedonistic version of the brand, right? What do you really, like, do you continue with the other one as well and continue to, like, progress it, or do you feel like, oh, because I'm seeing more profit here, I should probably
Right.
with this one?
You want to go? I'll go. It's okay. So, I'm glad you asked that question. Look, when you build a brand or when you build your targets and your business, sometimes, like the question that you asked, it doesn't come to your head. Like, are people looking at us from a point of view, they don't know anything, or they are confused or something like that. Whereas are coming from a space where we want to caffeinate people, be it with an experience or be it a small bottle of an espresso shot at your home. Our target is to caffeinate people, quality caffeinated. All right. So be it a QSR, that is a quick service restaurant, that is a Brim, or be it by giving experience. I would put it in this way that we are good at both. We know how to scale the QSR business as well. At the same time, we know how to give experience around coffee. So whenever we talk about experience around coffee, I always let the team know that has everybody been to Rajdhani Thali? It's a quite older brand, Rajdhani Thali, or correct, or Chokardani, or all these places, right? So I always tell my team about this thing that let the guest come in. You don't talk to them about the billing. We don't give sales targets to our team ever. It is only about spoil the guest with the experience. All right. So we are good at that. Touch wood, hopefully. And with Brim also, we are about to scale up as well. So we are looking at it from a point of view that we know both segments. In fact, we know roasting business as well. So that's how we are looking at. What is the second part of the question? Could you repeat, please? Sure.
The one where you are seemingly looking at, okay, this one is profiting more. Then do you solely kind of focus much of your energy?
It's a yes and a no. All right. As I said earlier, there's no shame in shutting. Right. As an entrepreneur, you need to be fluid. You need to be like a sponge, and you need to be very smart about. If you are egoistic कि नहीं यार ये तो मेरा baby project है यही रहेगा loss हो या जो भी हो जैसे what he asked, I think then you're not a businessman, then you are basically not thinking out truly, right? In a lot of businesses there are a lot of natural course of streams that go, like I don't know if you guys know this, Zomato also runs a company called Zomato Weather. It's a weather forecasting company, and they make huge revenues from there. I don't know how they do that. But does it mean they're distracted? No. It's basically, that's a natural course of the business. So some businesses you'll have to shut, some part of your business you'll have to maybe shut and outsource or something. So you have to be open for that.
See, I'll just add one thing connecting the questions, which is that even as you're an entrepreneur or running a business, you're also a consumer, you're also a customer. So talk to people, how they make decisions. So we are making hundreds of decisions or tens of decisions in a day what to buy, what not to buy. Okay, you will go down. There are probably 100 books available out there. What to buy, what not to buy. You go to this is that curiosity, I think, should be there. Talk to people. That's the best way to learn. I've always realized is either you have to live through an experience or have lots of conversations with customers. And let them just speak. Because they are finally, you win in a business where when a customer pays you and your cost, as Mithilesh said, is less than what they are paying you. That's the only way to become profitable.
Yeah. Do we have time for one question? Just one question, yes. This will be the last question, and then we'll just end with a note of the book that you've launched and written rather. So please.
My question is, we were talking about building a hotline between the business and the customer. And you also talked about the bidding platforms and social media platforms that run these days. Basically, it's all about the spending money, and whoever is the highest bidder gets the views. But if I want to build a direct hotline and I know what my customer is or what they like, what is it that I can do differently rather than just...
Very good question. So the way to think about this is, just think about all the messages that you get today from different brands, whether it's on email, SMS, WhatsApp, push notifications. Most of the messages are just offers. Buy this, buy that. How much time are they spending knowing you and making the offers relevant for you? If you are a company like Mithilesh, in the sort of broad, I would say just coffee, can you also educate people? Can you make it fun for them? For me, what a hotline means is, can you get 15 seconds of your customer's time every morning? That's branding. Almost like having a billboard in front of them, so that when they are ready to make the decision to buy, you are top of mind. Most brands do not bring in that little educational element, that little fun element in their communication. Also, ask people about them. What are their likes, dislikes? So you get to know them better. If you get to know them better, you can even personalize what you're communicating with them. So the key in this business, if I were to just sort of build on what you're asking, is retention, which is the only way you can become profitable. I think 3 things are key to that. The first is a hotline. Hotline means when you as a brand say something, the customer listens. The customer does not ignore you, as we are doing to a lot of the messages that come to us. Okay, number 1. And vice versa, that when the customer says, you listen. That's a hotline. It's a 2-way hotline. The second, use that hotline to get what in technical terms is called zero-party data. That means it is data volunteered by the customer. So name, age, gender are simple things. Ask them questions like you take coffee. When do you have your coffee? What type of coffee do you like? What are other drinks that you have, beverages that you have, and so on. Get to know them better. Get to know their lives better. Like someone had asked, how do they look like? Ask them. Most brands are not asking us that. Because then that information that you get. So you have a hotline, now you know more about them, and therefore you can do the ultimate thing in retention, which is what I call N is equal to 1 personalization. Means personalization for a segment of 1, where you make every customer feel special.
But it's very difficult to get this sort of specific customer data, especially when you are selling through
Correct.
third-party platforms.
Absolutely. If you're selling it...
Have a direct sale, this is still possible, but...
No, but say even if you're selling through marketplaces, can you create like a loyalty program? So in your packaging, can you give a small incentive to the customer to share mobile number / email ID? So the next time you want to reach that person, you do not again have to go through the marketplaces. See, the key is the only ones. My belief is that if you are in the direct selling business, over time, you will have to build direct relationships with your customers. Because look at what marketplaces also do. They have all the data of what people are buying, and they also then compete.
Yeah.
in the same categories, making it harder for you to get further. They are in the business of basically selling also, right? So you have to build direct relationships as much as possible, hotlines, the data, and how can you do better personalization. The unfortunate reality is most marketers, most brands are not doing this today. The easy thing is to spend money on marketplaces, to do it through other ways, but that will not let you build what I call a Proficorn in my book, profitable, bootstrapped, profitable, and scaled.
Thank you for the question. And I can see Akash saying, bus, 30 seconds more. So if you could just let us know quickly about your book, and when am I getting your signed book as well?
So I'm here for some more time. I think the book should be available down. It's called Startup to Proficorn. So unicorn, I think we know. So Proficorn is a word I coined to describe companies which do not raise capital, which are bootstrapped and which scale. And therefore, as an entrepreneur, you have to make $1 billion company, and if you have 10%, you make, say, $100 million, or whatever number you take. In a Proficorn, you create $100 million of value since you own the company. It's a lower bar to buy, to basically create wealth. You're creating wealth for yourself, not just for investors. So the book should be available. I should be around somewhere here. I'll leave by about 5 o'clock. So I'll be delighted to sign it. The book came out a year and a half ago, and it's done pretty well. It's a slightly different, it's a lived experience. So very easy read, small stories from my 30 years as an entrepreneur, and I hope you like it.
Okay. Thank you, Akash, for giving us 30 seconds more. Thank you so much. You've been an amazing audience. Thank you so much. And he is available till 5 o'clock over here, so you could ask all the questions. Thank you.
Thank you, guests, and thank you, audience, for being so wonderful. See you again in some other session.